Does the ego have to die? You know, the whole concept of spirituality has somehow sold us this idea that our ego has to die, or our ego needs to be transcended. And as I move further along in my awaken to myself journey, if I can call it that, I realize that it's not about killing the ego or degrading the ego. It's about healing the shadows that the ego has created and integrating all the misidentifications and integrating ourselves. And because when we were birthed into this density, when we incarnated, we were literally split from ourselves. We were divided from ourselves and within ourselves, and we forgot who we are. We forgot who we are. And in this amnesia and in the brutal circumstances in which many of us were raised or brought up, confusing circumstances, that not having the knowledge of who we are, we were living from a reactionary mode. We reacted to life. We didn't respond. We reacted to the pain, to the neglect, to the abuse, to the trauma. And in the back of the mind, the little child mind that is not yet formed, the brain is not formed to rationalize from the true identity. That little brain is not able to rationalize what's happening, and the child in the subconscious will take in all the blame for all the abuse and neglect and the pain that was caused to the child. It will take that all in, absorb it, take the blame, and tell itself, it must be my fault. I must be so terrible that people mistreat me and don't love me. And in our subconscious mind, we tell us these things to the point where we dissociate from our human self. Because a human self that garners so much mistreatment, there must be something wrong with it. Right? At least that's what the child will surmise. So because there is something wrong with me, I don't even want to be with me. I don't even want to have an association with this human that I am living in. It must be so bad, that everybody is treating my human badly, your human badly. Nobody likes me, then I ought to not like myself either. And these beliefs, these surmisings of the early childhood brain, mind, have created the shadows, the coping shadows, the different masks that ego now presents based on that subconscious programming that the child mind created. And are we meant to transcend that? Are we meant to transcend the ego that helped us survive? No. We're not supposed to kill the ego. But we have to heal the identity. We have to heal the fragmented, separated identity that we believe we are. We have to heal these programs, these beliefs. This belief that I must be so bad that I don't even want to be with myself, right? And that's where your addictions come in. You want to drink the pain away, drug the pain away, keep yourself in amnesia so that you're not confronted by this belief system that you are so bad, such a failure in this life. You can't face yourself, right? You can't face yourself in that lie. But it's a lie, right? And it's that aspect what we must awaken to, that it is a lie. We have been telling ourselves falsehoods. And we must undo the lies at that deep psychological and emotional level of the soul. And really, it's not a matter of killing the ego. It's a matter of dissolving the lies and bringing the dissociated consciousness back into the self. You're not so bad. You're a magnificent human being, a magnificent soul that is worthy of love. And you have to give yourself that love. What the world could not give you, even God in the religion, God's love, God's love was helpful. It soothed you, it soothed your wounds. But many of us still have the lies playing in the background, even though mentally we believe in assent to that God loves us, but we don't love ourselves. You see, we believe our own lies over what God tells us. And so we live from that poverty mindset. We live from that smallness, from that unworthiness. It's not ego's fault. Ego is just executing the belief. Ego is just making up for what is lacking in the psyche, what is lacking in the emotional body, in the psychological body. Ego is trying to compensate for that. It's doing us a service to survive. But like I said, we need to work on these lies. We need to integrate where we separated from ourselves, come back home into the self. And as we heal that, we can signal to the ego. Actually, it'll dissolve all on its own. But the ego won't be so hyper-vigilant once there is a balance established, right? And we own ourselves. We accept ourselves because we are the only self there is. We're the only self that God is manifesting through, right? And there are many selves, many other selves, but they too, you too, are the only self that God can manifest through. So we don't want to kill anything. Nothing is out of place in ourself. There are just some false beliefs that we created, that we believe, that have held us in this dissociation and separation, and had us living in enmity with ourselves. That's that house divided that Jesus spoke of. The house divided against itself cannot stand, right? So we must unite the house. We must unite ourselves with ourselves, not with God, because as you know, for centuries humanity has believed in God, but it has not eliminated the inner lies. It has not eliminated the separation. It made us feel a little bit better that somebody is out there that loves us, but ultimately the salvation is in me loving myself, in you loving yourself, and integrating and making that one self that we are whole, right? So the ego can actually be redeemed once our fragmented and splintered consciousness is restored into a singular consciousness, that consciousness of one. And then there is only one self. So don't try to get rid of it. All the spiritual attempts to transcend this ego is just the attempt of another ego version trying to polish itself up to look better. You don't have to try and polish anything. You just have to switch into acceptance mode and heal the parts that you already are into wholeness. I hope this helps, and I send you so much love. And you're not alone. You're not alone in your struggle. Good night.